Chapter 8, Episode 4. Visit to the Imperial City. After everyone in the restaurant finished eating, Falma called out, "Well then, let's go," and Malene pulled out her wallet. It seems that it was bought in the Empire. When Falma rolled her eyes, Malene showed a proud attitude. "Is there a fee to enter the store?" "How much?" "During the voyage, I asked the sailors about the culture and customs of the Empire. I bought the wallet in the fishing port of Marseille." "Hey, the preparation is perfect." However, Falma does not accept it. "Today is also a welcome party and I will receive you, so don't worry. This is thanks to. Next time you come, I will do my best to entertain you. I'm looking forward to it. I've eaten so much that I want to be hungry." As Malene left the restaurant, she began to bend and stretch on the spot. The companions also followed Malene's movement and began to exercise. The other 5 seemed unable to sit still. "Stop exercising after eating here. Besides, it's not good to exercise right after eating, you'll get a stomachache." Falma and Clara are perplexed by the excessive freedom of the party. "When I'm full, it makes me sleepy. I want to keep moving to avoid that." There doesn't seem to be a concept for a diet, but he probably doesn't want to get full either. The Myraka companions, except for Malene, don't seem to have broad translation spirits and don't speak the Imperial language. So Falma will tell Malene about it and Malene will act as a liaison and interpret for her. "Then, while you are walking, would you like to go and see His Holiness Elizabeth?" "That's fine." Elizabeth is this pompous woman. A passerby looks back, startled. "Phew, it looks like you are indeed the grandest person on this continent." Hearing this, Clara panicked, wondering if she would be disrespectful. "It would be difficult if someone asked me." Falma inwardly wondered which of them was bossy, but he didn't say for good reason. The curiosity of the people on the streets stared at Malene and the others, but when they saw Falma, they pretended not to see it. At that time, Falma had some notoriety as the owner of another world pharmacy and court pharmacy. "This time I was lucky." The group arrives at the palace while observing the Imperial City on foot and touching the lives of the people in the Imperial City. This is the palace where Saint Empress Elizabeth resides. It is a royal palace with a spacious garden and a detached palace featuring a beautiful Baroque architectural style and interior decoration. It seems that they built and landscaped it. The interior style is. Falma has also taken on the aspect of a tourist guide. Since he works in the castle, on occasions such as welcoming guests, he is asked by guests from home and abroad to explain the castle in detail as the chief court apothecary. What a building! Was it built by human hands? Can I see it from the air? Falma hastily stopped as Malene tried to summon a monster bird that embodied the painting. "Don't fly, the people in the Imperial City will be knocked down." "You can fly too. What's so special?" Although I think so, I have a feeling that something is wrong." Falma is hiding in the clouds for the time being, so the citizens of the Imperial City can't see him. "I don't fly the way people can see. Pay attention to manners when flying. It's normal." Falma is carried away by Malene's free speed. Falma and the others were worried about the ears of passers-by, so they passed through the office with a pass and headed to the meeting place with the Holy Emperor. Clara is allowed to enter the palace separately, so I will accompany her. Usually people don't fly, but I lost my confidence. Clara's bump is not quite sharp either. Given this place, only Clara is the minority who can't fly. The Holy Emperor invited Malene and her friends to a secluded villa on the palace grounds, a detached palace she had recently built. It also functions as a guest house. The other 5 were taking a guided tour of the estate, so they acted separately, so it was Malene's visit alone. "Wow, that's it. The guest house that His Holiness had you build is the first time it's been open to the public." Falma nostalgically recalled the structure on the ground, thinking it looked like the Petit Trianon that Marie Antoinette loved. In contrast to the elegant and detailed Rococo-style interior, there is an artificial lake in front of the detached chateau and you can enjoy the rural courtyard in harmony with nature. There was a girl with an impudent attitude that did not fit the atmosphere of such a picturesque place, which reminded me of the majesty of the empire. "I'm sorry, Maline." When the Holy Emperor smiled kindly, Maline made an indescribably sour face. "I came all this way to show you my face, Elizabeth. You live in a huge house." Because of Maline's provocation, the Holy Emperor's close associates panic, fearing fights. "Okay, it's just a joke from a close friend." Perhaps the Holy Emperor thought the interference was annoying and forced his aides to back off. "I don't remember calling you a friend." "Well, don't be so hard on yourself. This is my home, but it's not just a house. It's the center of the administration, the legislature, and the judiciary. You might say it's a little country, so to speak." The Holy Emperor looks out at the courtyard and places his hands on his bee-like waist. Maline seemed taken aback by her posture, as if she wanted to say something. "I have a question. Do you intend to monopolize this kind of wealth and distribute it to people in the same country?" "I will not go." Elizabeth somehow happily accepts Maline's words. I lead her to the table and offer her a soothing drink. "What does it say, drink?" "Let's have it." It came with freshly squeezed fruit juice. The Holy Emperor suggested another drink, explaining to her, "Are you familiar with large-scale public works? The construction of the palace provides enough work and rewards for the various craftsmen who seek work in the Imperial city. Artisans support their families, and their children inherit their skills and enrich other industries. This is another form of sustainable wealth redistribution." "No, I don't. Our tribe doesn't have fixed trades." Maline shakes her head childishly. The Holy Emperor walks up to her and says, "I am like an old woman. Since you may build a big empire in the future, let me tell you that when the settlement expands, it will become a village or a city, and when it becomes even bigger, it will become a country where power is born different places and governance will not be easy." Although unconvinced, Maline seems to listen for now. If you seek popularity, the easiest way is to make the citizens revel. Just distribute the wealth and let them consume it. However, such an empire will last a lifetime. To make the nation prosper for 100,000 years, it is necessary to create a large circle of people's activities. In addition, the demonstration of the financial power of the state and the majesty of the palace will also help to avoid unfortunate armed conflicts. The Sun Fluve Empire has never been attacked by any nation, neither a rebellion nor an armed uprising. The Holy Emperor sums up their political views on the imperialist system. "Isn't it only to be held down by force?" "Well, that's true, but the emperor is neither hereditary nor lifelong. Everyone watches my actions during my reign and sharpens the blade of public opinion. May the emperor's power decline. If a young lion wins public opinion to his side, he will be defeated in a duel for the throne. It is not a crime to be defeated during a duel for the throne. If you want a peaceful life after abdication, you will make every effort to do so. No one wants to be a tyrant, so the best course of action is to put the welfare of the people first." Surprisingly difficult emperor of this country. No one wants to be. Maline doesn't know where to drop her raised fist. Is that true? Falma thought he knew what she was thinking. I never asked her about her political philosophy, and I didn't think it was Falma's job. Indeed. To prevent escape, there is a curse engraved on the emperor's vessel called the Sacred Seal. Yes, but I forced everything on Falma. Falma was taken aback when his name was suddenly called. The curse of Lake Titicaca was lifted, and I feel better. I was able to sleep better. Now that I have lost Rutaleka, my destiny has gone somewhere. Live on. Maline is no longer full of resentment when we first met. It would be correct to say that all the problems that had plagued her had been resolved and her fangs had been pulled out. Falma was in a complicated state of mind because of the interaction between the two of them. However, Falma felt something like, "That's okay, if someone could unload the burden he was carrying." Perhaps sensing the loud exchange, Louis emerged from the next room. Good timing, Falma welcomed the appearance of Louis. "Ha ha ha, who's here?" Who is this person? Louis brandished a pool cue. Guessed. Mother. Maline was surprised as she pointed alternately at Elizabeth and Louis. Is that so? Then Maline leaned back as if she had lost her mind. Is it possible to have a child and be the head? Can you do it? Maline seems to have experienced culture shock. If the head has children, other tribes will immediately attack or kill them. So, she explains, the chief is always single during his reign. It's not hereditary, so there's no point in targeting Louis. After Falma heard this from the Holy Emperor, he remembered the history of Japan and the world of Earth, and although there was a story about the assassination of the heir, it happened because it was hereditary. Children of the royal family are murdered and poisoned one after another, but the president's children are targeted only for ransom. Falma also thinks that. Is that so? It's an excellent mechanism that was unexpectedly well thought out. Maline sends praise with a face that looks like she's been chewing on a bitter bug. I don't think it's the best, but I don't think it's bad when I think about the people of the country. After all, the emperor is a power and a weapon for the subjects. If you do it, you'll want to leave it. The Holy Emperor had a pretty clear idea of his position. I understand. The king of a great country is afraid of a large number of rebels. I will try not to get my head scratched. The Holy Emperor laughed softly as if everything was in it. I've never seen this color of hair before. Do you want to play billiards? Louis, who had been standing there for a while, invites Maline to play billiards without reading the atmosphere. Noah appears from behind and tries to pull Louis by saying, seriously, read the air now. What's this billiard thing? I can't translate it. With a stick and a ball, it's a serious game to see who can hit the ball as intended. Louis continued to explain as he was dragged away in a chokehold. The courage of Louis, who had a calm face in this atmosphere, was quite impressive. Yes, let's go this way, Your Highness. I will be your partner. When Noah pushed Louis on his back to get rid of him, Maline followed him. Interesting, take it. Yes? Falma and Noah looked at each other at the unexpected development. Elizabeth gently hands Maline a pool cue. This is my favorite cue. Illustration by Mimin. After a while, Maline challenged the prince and suffered a sloppy defeat, making Falma, who was watching, feel uncomfortable. I'm sorry, but I don't think we can win for a while. After 3 consecutive defeats, Falma told Maline to surrender. The others are back, and what's next? Those present, who have returned from the courtyard tour, also look interested. What are you talking about? I will do it until I win. His Highness practices billiards 3 hours a day, so I think it's tough. Moreover, when he was defeated, Louis stopped him by saying, I'm too weak and bored. I'll beat you up next time you come. Maline barked, but Louis didn't seem to take it seriously. Can you bring pool? Falma asked, wondering if it would be okay to give away one of the tables at home. His Highness is good at billiards, so you can't help it. Louis hates being trained in divine arts, so it seems unlikely that he will become emperor by improving his skills in divine arts. Even the Holy Emperor thinks that it is useless to train him because he does not have enough divine power in mind, and he says nothing about his son's negligence. Falma predicted that he might even become a professional hustler, as he has been practicing diligently with a pool coach lately, instead of being ignorant when it comes to divine arts. Did Falma ever beat that kid? A few years ago, I couldn't win. Since it's entertainment billiards, you shouldn't go all out, but lately, even if you go all out, you can't win. It's amazing that you're still a kid. I think it's great that you're driving it. Maline walks around the palace on a lion lent to him by the Holy Emperor to visit the garden. As Falma expressed his impressions, Maline combed the lion's mane. I tried to ride it, but I wonder what kind of animal it is. Was a lion. Falma, Clara and the Milaka refused the lion and followed it on foot. Maline seems to give instructions to the lion through her mind, and the lion listens to her instructions more submissively than Elizabeth. He knows the lion of His Holiness, he is like his owner. Without hesitation, Falma was impressed by Maline's courage, who could control the lion so easily. As for Malene, her eyes sparkled at the scene before her. I saw something good, especially this one. Malene stopped the lion in front of the great well. Is it a fountain? Worth seeing is the palace fountain. With a statue mimicking the emperor in the center, several fountains rise. If you like it. Falma, a busy man, had bought in advance a postcard with photos of the sights of the palace in Elizabeth, so he gave it to Malene and his companions. It is also useful to talk about souvenirs after returning, and it is also ideal for interior decoration. Hey, I'm glad to hear that. Malene and her companions were honestly pleased. By the way, why does the water flow from low to high? Are you using something called divine arts? This is just a physical phenomenon. Through the mechanism of water flowing from high to low, water pressure from the water tank is applied to the height difference of the well, and it looks like the water is exploding. Hey. If I wanted to do that, I would have no choice but to borrow the power of the spirit. Falma warned Malene, who was mesmerized by the beauty of the courtyard garden. Now, be careful not to summon the spirits of this land. There are only evil spirits here. Seriously, they are evil. In the immediate vicinity, a landscaper who took his own life at the fountain in the garden because he was late for the appointment that would appear before him. He has never appeared before Falma, but according to the courtiers, he has a grotesque appearance. Since I have no connections or ties to this country, I don't even call the ancestors of this country. I join hands with the ancestors every day, pass on their achievements and obligations, and am grateful to my ancestors. That's how it is. Don't say things like Japanese. Falma feels a little nostalgic. Still, it's a cursed continent that has only evil spirits by your standards. You must have neglected the ancestral spirits. Falma did not even make a sound when struck by the dark side of the empire. Although the people of this continent worshipped protective deities, they feared that the dead would appear as spirits. I wondered if it was not necessary to live in fear of evil spirits when they respected and enclosed the spirits with a great care. No, I don't feel that I can do anything with that. I feel that the nature of the spirits of this continent is different. But is it possible that the patron deity is also responsible for this? Or maybe Falma's existence itself provoked the spirit. Certainly, if I use my divine power to drive the spirit away from this place, I feel there might be a backlash. Maybe you're good at calming ghosts? Can you? Do you look like you've asked for something? Falma inadvertently thought he had found a way out. I'll do it after I put together a proper request. Well, that much is mutual. Malene makes a surprised face for a moment, wondering if there is that much, but she agrees as if it were a piece of cake. Maybe Malene is very reliable when it comes to ghost problems? Surprised by the unexpected development, Clara whispered softly to Falma, "That's good." That evening, as planned, a welcome party was held at the de Medici household. Since it is a great occasion, I invited the Otherworld Pharmacy staff, Zoe, Josephine and Emmerich from Imperial Pharmacy School. As soon as Emmerich saw clearly that Malene and the others were a different race from the Empire, he was very curious and wanted to take their DNA. I can't take it anymore. Let's just calm down. Falma held his wrist, who was about to take out a test tube while the conversation was not so good. Stop analyzing guests' roots at the welcome party. No, but don't you wonder if they have a common ancestor with us? Although it bothers me. Maybe there is something like a cursed vein sleeping against the divine vein in our bodies. I want you to rub my mouth a little. Emmerich, asking Falma with a sharp face, is full of curiosity. I was about to take out a cotton swab for oral epithelial cell smears, so I immediately seized it. It's early. Even if you do it, it's not now, and you're going to provide whatever information you get to the other party. Also, you can't test minors. The consent form for gene donation provided by Falma Emmerich was very strict, and the subject had to fully understand it and agree to the collection. That was in terms of genetic testing guidelines, right? You can't throw a stick out of a bush, can you? Are you the type to suddenly confess to someone you just met? Yeah? I've never failed before. Falma almost fell forward. her. When Falma looked at Lot, Ellen, Josephine and others, these girls who are strong in the community showed tremendous openness. Malene and the others tried wine for the first time after being recommended by Ellen and began to feel carefree. Wait a minute. Malene, have you ever had alcohol? As Falma pondered whether he was dealing with acute alcohol poisoning. I made fruit wine and drank it. With this, it is certainly possible. Is it not the first time? If that's okay. It's not good, but minors should not drink alcohol. This is Falma's theory, which the minor himself also adheres to. This wine is free of impurities and has an interesting taste. My favorite is Malene. If you buy it and go home. I will. The banquet was in full swing and the performance of the court band, the highlight of the day, began. The private dispatch of a court band of the finest virtuosi to the House of Medicis was a courtesy of the Holy Emperor. Although none of the servants, except Malene, who had a mind that understood the language of the Empire, could converse with the people of the Empire, the music seemed to know no bounds, and some began to dance with the apothecary staff with body language. Those who are good with percussion instruments borrowed timpani and snare of the orchestra. And Malene beat a cappella on hands and feet, and the percussion of the percussion instruments of the Maraca tribe began. Inspired by them, the court band also set up an improvisation round. A few minutes later, the folk music session was set up, as expected by the Imperial court band, which responded to the noble's egotism with ad-libs. Isn't it a new and beautiful feeling now? A new era is coming. Really? Music I've never heard before. Ellen, Lot and the others are moved with reddened cheeks. As for Falma's reaction, it didn't sound new since it was familiar fusion music from Billboard, but to the not-so-enthusiastic concertmaster, it seemed like a revolutionary session. I can't do this, I'm scoring. The concertmaster grabbed a pen and paper and ran off. I think the cross-cultural exchange is very good. Afterwards, enjoy table games and bowling. As a gesture of gratitude for their hospitality, the Molenes intervened through ghosts in the paintings of the de' Medici family, moving them and taking them out of their frames. It looks like a tiger could be pulled out of a folding screen, and it seems like a 4DX cinema is being built. Falma applauded this 4DX animation, which he hadn't seen in a long time. Isn't there a big demand for moving images? Make comments like Ellen saw something terrible. Please do it again. Lot, a court painter, was so eager to cooperate that he even hyperventilated. Falma hands Lot a paper bag. You're breathing too much, Lot. Can't I smoke this? A voice came from the paper bag. For example, if the portraits of the deceased or loved ones started to move as if they were alive, there would be a lot of people who would like them. With that, Falma ran his imagination around practical applications. Maybe a slightly naughty picture of a pair of lovers. Does it move? Rebecca's delusions with some kind of switch won't stop. Malene, noticing that the Empire people were excited, slapped her across the face. Images don't work without wizards with magical powers. Right. Falma guessed that with the previous concept, a cinema would surely be built soon. Falma took care of Malene, who came out to wake up from the Medici's family balcony. As expected, I should have stopped. I feel good, but I don't know what to do. As Malene descended on Falma, she gently wrapped her arms around her as if she had lost consciousness. This is the one that ends when someone sees it. I can't stand being drunk. I don't want a scandal either, Falma thought to himself, holding his right hand over Malene. Malene closed her eyes and brought her lips to Falma, creating a dangerous atmosphere. Who are you confusing yourself with? I'm going to pull you out. Falma pulls out the ethanol with substance excretion, relieving Malene's drunkenness. What are you doing? You're trying to build me a cage. Yes. You just treated me. Although unreasonable, I had no choice but to be scolded by Malene, who had come back to her senses.